Pigskin. And we do that with our experts in studio with us right now. Back with us once again, Larry Cotlar and Tony Atzeni. As Tony, we got all kinds of things going on. Of course, Central Iowa Sports Network keeping everybody up to speed as to what is happening.
CISN.TV is where you can go to check out some of our stream and video and audio stream games. We have 3 this week. The first one, of course, Urbandale at Dowling Catholic. Interesting game. Urbandale with a nice opening season victory, and Dowling Catholic, they were washed out there in Cedar Rapids. They did.
Yeah, so now they're going to make that game up?
No, they are not going to make the game up, so that's just a game lost on the schedule. It's a non-district game, so it means nothing for the postseason. But the thing is, these kids this is their first game, so maybe a slight advantage to Urbandale. But then you look at the other end of the coin, the heat tonight, it's going to affect things, and Dowling has usually more depth than most teams in the state, so they'll probably play a lot more people, where Urbandale sometimes has more of those two-way players. And that might have a big effect, especially when you get into late third, fourth quarters of the ball games. But Urbandale with a big advantage tonight because of the, the game under their belt as far as that goes. And Dowling trying to figure out who is their quarterback going to be. And I mean, there was a 4-man rotation during the offseason to figure it all out. I think they're down to only 2, so we'll see who gets those snaps tonight for Dowling Catholic in that game against Urbandale. Should be a good one. And the other game, Southeast Polk's at Waukee. Both teams coming off of a loss. Johnston beating Southeast Polk, and of course Waukee losing to West Des Moines Valley, the top-ranked team in the state.
Yeah, that was a heartbreaker for Southeast Polk. With 33 seconds left. Yeah,
and they missed an extra point. Otherwise, they'd have been looking at overtime earlier in the game. They had missed an extra point, and that came back to haunt them. But still a good game, and the team's predicated on defense anyway. They'll get the first game of the year. I'm sure their offenses will be a lot better.
Now, I want to go back to something you mentioned last week. You said these first several games that the teams are playing, they're important to get the bugs out and get the nerves settled down. But he said in the whole scheme of things, maybe not that important.
Yeah, with the district play, and that's in all 6 classes. The 4A, they're playing 4 games of non-district. Some of the smaller classes are only playing 3 and maybe sometimes 2, depending on the numbers in their districts. So those non-district games are just, I mean, they count, they mean something overall, especially if you want to stay ranked or whatever, but it's really trying to get your team in the right spot, so when you get to district, you set yourself up for the playoffs.
So for the
trying to finish in the top 4.
Does it matter how you do?
Not in the non-district.
So these are like warm-up games?
Basically. It's like,
okay.
But you can find a lot about your team, and of course, you like to run the table like Regina did for a while there for 5 years until they got beat by Solon last year with that 60-something plus game winning streak that they had.
So for Waukee and the people over in Runnels, it's no big deal?
No.
Okay.
Sure, you'd love to win, but you learn from these games and then you get ready for district play. Another big one tonight, a couple of teams that did win first week. Johnston, who beat Southeast Polk, taking on Ankeny, who beat Indianola last week. It'll be at Ankeny. That'll be the game I'll be doing with Ben Carroll as our audio game of the week on CISN.TV. So we'll be over there at Ankeny again. Except
so CISN.TV, that's where you can listen to it.
Yeah, sure. Okay. And of course, we put out our ranking. I always loved doing and hated doing the rankings, and I thought, oh, what the heck? So each week you can check it out. I sent it to you guys on your website, so it's going to be out there for our rankings each week. And I also will name offensive, defensive, and player of the year. I used to do it when I was at the other company as far as statewide, but now I'm just kind of keeping it to the central Iowa area, the Golden Circle area. So last week I named David Kakmarinsky of Pella Christian our offensive player of the week. He passed for 350 plus yards and 6 touchdowns for Pella Christian. They're a team to watch. Dallas Miles of Dallas Center Grimes, our defensive player of the year, had a couple of picks and led the team to the victory against Carlisle last week. And special teams, Zach Creeder out of Norwalkie had 4 field goals last week, including a 47-yarder. So I'll give him some credit there.
That's awesome. All right. So what about on the collegiate level?
Well, Iowa State, Northern Iowa opened their seasons, as does Drake. Grandview, of course, lost last week to Baker, which was a big surprise to me.
That was a huge surprise.
It was. But Iowa and Iowa State have similar situations this week. They're FBS teams from power conferences, and they've got to play teams out of the Missouri Valley Football Conference. These are FCS schools, and it's these dangerous games because when you're from a power conference, you're supposed to win these games, and it doesn't matter how good the other team is. And both the teams they're playing are very good. Iowa at 11 a.m. plays Illinois State. All they did last year was get to the championship game. And they lost to North Dakota State, which is a perennial champion. They lost by 2 to them.
Yeah, Illinois State is tough.
Yeah, and they've got Trey Roberson, who used to be the quarterback at Indiana, and they've got Marshawn Copridge, and he's their running back. And the other thing, I found this an interesting twist. You know, it's C.J. Beathard. He did get some starts last year, but it's his first time as a starter for the Hawkeyes as the guy. His uncle is the offensive coordinator for Illinois State.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
So he probably knows a little bit about him.
You think? Yeah. Okay.
But the bottom line is Iowa just needs to take control of the game like this. You need to come out there. I know they're going to run the football with LaShawn Daniels. They're going to run it with Jordan Canzeri. Beathard hopefully can spread the field, so that'll open up some of the running lanes. And then you got to put pressure on the quarterback. And Iowa's got some new players on the defensive line. So I expect Iowa to win a game like this. I think you need to win a game like this, you know, especially if you're trying to rebound from what was considered a disappointing season a year ago.
So in reality, Iowa is playing ISU 2 weeks in a row.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's very correct. And speaking of ISU, nice lead-in, by the way.
Segue, yeah.
Iowa State is playing Northern Iowa, and last time they played them, they lost to Northern Iowa. And when you think about it, I'm sorry. Well, I'm just trying to. But I can't play favorites in this one because I like both schools and I like both coaches. But Northern Iowa still trying to figure out the quarterback situation. Iowa State, though, is in a different situation than they were last year. In fact, the last couple of years, because now they know firmly who their quarterback is, and that's Sam Richardson. Going in last year, he was the #1 guy, but the year before, Grant Rohach had played. Now, you see a running play, and that's what the Cyclones need to be able to do. And the key for them is going to be, again, the offensive line, which has not been very good the last few years. They've got to find a way to run the football, because when that guy right there, Sam Richardson, is your leading rusher, that's not a good thing when your quarterback is your leading rusher. Defensively, they're going to have to put pressure on the UNI quarterback, and they're dealing with 3 or 4 quarterbacks right now trying to figure out which guy is going to be their guy. So, but again, it's a dangerous game because we know Northern Iowa's good. They're always good. But this is a really, really important game for Iowa State for this reason. They've won 5 games in 2 years. Paul Rhodes knows he's on the hot seat, and you have to come out smelling like a rose in your first game. If you lay an egg in the opening game, that sours the start to the season.
And there's a lot of so-called experts that are saying, oh, the defense needs to do that, the offense needs to do that.
Right.
And coming up on Monday on this program, Paul Rhodes himself is going to tell you what you can expect from the offense and the defense for Iowa State this year. So he's going to tell you, instead of these experts telling us, went to the coach, he's going to tell us.
Well, and that's true. But again, you know, you need to start out, when you're coming off 2 really disappointing seasons, you need to get the fan base involved where they feel good about the team. And if you come out and lose to Northern Iowa, with no disrespect to Northern Iowa, because they're a very good team, but you're supposed to win that game.
Yeah.
And so you really need to win that game. Drake, by the way, opens up against William Jewell, 6 o'clock tomorrow night. I'll be doing color commentary on 1350 KRNT.
That's awesome.
With Chuck Reed. We're putting the band back
You
together.
and Chuck, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah. So, you know, good luck to the Bulldogs. They're going to have a salty team this year, too. They're a veteran team. They've got a quarterback who's there for the 3rd straight year in Andy Rice. John Huguenin heads up a very strong defense. And I don't know a lot yet about William Jewell. I'll know more by tomorrow. But I expect Drake to come out with a win. And hopefully Grandview goes on the road to Central Methodist and rebounds from that loss to Baker.
Oh, we can hope.
Yep.
Okay,
definitely.
and then big news from college football last night, Jason. You were grinning a little bit this morning when you found out about Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan lost, so that's always good.
Harbaugh's
Anytime they lose, it's
first effort at coaching back at Michigan.
You remember, and Jake Rudock was the quarterback for Michigan and got picked twice, including a pick 6. So
well, that's right, yeah.
Yeah. So
amazing. All right. Well done. So again, Cotman, you're going to be on radio tomorrow.
Right, with Chuck Reed doing the game at 6 o'clock on KRNT.
And what about you, young man?
We'll be streaming tonight, the audio stream. I'll be at Ankeny as Ankeny faces Johnston in our game, about 6:50 pregame at CISN.TV, and you can go to CISN.TV to check out each and every Friday night the games that we'll be at across the state. And if you want to check, usually on Monday morning, I usually do it on Sunday. The rankings will be out, and they'll put it on their website. I know I sent it to you here at KCWI's website, so it'll all be posted out there. Have some fun with it. It's all for conversation pieces. It's not a reality check, so have fun with it.
Perfect. Tony, thank you so much.
Thanks.
All right, folks.